Members, it appears that all discussion and debate has ceased. Seeing no other requests to speak, we'll return to Assemblymember Gloria for his closing comments.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and a sincere appreciation to all of my colleagues for a robust debate. It's refreshing to see an issue that engages so many members on all sides of the aisle. We have differing opinions, but I think what the refrains I've heard repeatedly is an acknowledgement that without question the science supports today's bill and that it's the right thing for kids. So I think your vote today is pretty clear, but I want to take this opportunity in closing to address some of the concerns that were mentioned. First off, there was a reference to the fact that this bill has not changed. And of course, as you heard from my colleague from Whittier, it is in fact changed. This bill excludes rural districts, and it also has a different implementation date. There was made mention of the impacts to collective bargaining agreements. That was also addressed in this bill. It will not be implemented until a new contract is adopted. There was made mention of local control and the desire to allow locals to make this decision. And I sort of chuckle at that representation simply because this body has made many, many directions to local school boards in this session alone. I'm thinking about ethics studies. I'm thinking about cultural adornments. I'm thinking about in recent years around lead paint in schools, around the requirement for physical education curriculum, about the number of school days. And I'd point out a lot of those things address the children's health, the very thing that we're trying to address with this bill. Members, I know that this may be hard for some of you. I've certainly heard from many of my constituents. But, listen, how many times have we stood up collectively or individually and said that we want people to listen to the science about climate change? We say again and again, do they not see what the experts are saying and why are they not doing something about it? So you can't get up and say that and then turn around and again vote against this bill. You cannot rise up and say that this is going to be tough for adults when we know that children are suffering. If you're not supporting kids, what are you doing here? Members, 3 million of our children in middle schools and high schools are currently sleep deprived. And you don't have to take it from the guy from San Diego or the guy from La Canada Flint Ridge. You can take it from the American Academy of Pediatrics, the American Academy of Sleep Medicine, the California Adolescent Health Collaborative, the California Medical Association. The list goes on of experts in this field who know that the children are suffering because of our current practice of starting a little too early. And what are the impacts of that? They're pretty simple, members. They cannot get enough sleep, and so they see performance in their school go down. You see memory, attention, and judgment challenge. You heard from my colleague from Los Angeles about the challenges of truancy and dropout rates. You understand that this is dangerous to our community as a whole. Now, many of you know I'm the son of a maid and a gardener. When you're talking about working families struggling to make ends meet in this state, I've lived that, all right? But it was never easy to get to school for my parents either. We made it work. My colleague from San Diego painted this vividly. So what happens to those families? Well, know that those families today have some of the most sleep-deprived children in this state. And so we can fix that for them. If that is who you're concerned about, that is who this bill speaks to. And what happens for the schools that might need to make an adjustment? Just as they do now for after-school care. Some of those resources and demonstration areas can be removed from after the school day to the beginning of the school day to make sure that people can make ends meet. But members, this is not about adults. This is about kids. And I'm asking you to vote with the children. Do it for our kids. Do it because science suggests it. Do it because our chairman is asking for it. Members, I ask you to vote yes on SB 328. It is for our children.
Thank you, Mr. Gloria. With that, Mr. Clerk, please open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. Mr. Gloria moves the call. Assemblymember Calderon, you are recognized for your motions.
At the request of the author, please move item 6, AB 2808.
Are concurred in. Moving now to members, I am prepared to lift the call on item 51 SB 328. The clerk will post. Mr. Clerk, please close the roll. Mr. Clerk, please close the roll and tally the votes. Ayes 41, noes 30. That measure passes. Members, we are moving back in file order. Item 10 passed temporarily. Item 12, AB 2973. Mr. Clerk, please.